He is an internationally recognized naturalist, astronomer, author, space artist, and musician with a unique ability to open minds to the vast frontiers of space and their potential effects on our own world. Among many other accomplishments, he joined NASA's New Horizons mission media team for the historic flyby of Pluto, and then he rejoined that team again in 2018-2019 for the Ultima Thule Kuiper Belt flyby to the farthest object ever explored in our solar system. It is no stretch to say he is far out. He is David Aguilar. Please welcome him. Welcome.
Thank you, my
Have
friend.
fun.
I think on behalf of Ronnie and Randy, I would like to say welcome to any of those that are visiting Earth for the very first time. Welcome to be here. As an astrophysicist, I have learned a little trick, and I will share it with you, and you can certainly use it yourself. As an astrophysicist, I work in the universe. That is part of what I do. When I'm on an airplane and I sit down and there's somebody next to me I really do not want to have a conversation with the rest of the flight, and they ask me what I do, I simply tell them I'm a mathematician. If I do want to talk to them, I tell them I'm an astronomer. And the first question they ever ask me is there life out there in the universe? Do I believe in aliens? And for the next few moments, we're going to explore this because I have some information that may surprise you. It may change your view just a little bit. And at the end, I'm going to leave you with something I suspect you're going to think about for a few days to come. Now, as a young boy growing up, I absolutely loved science fiction. Science fiction to me meant so much. All the movies of aliens coming to Earth, invading, wanting something from us, willing to take our women away with them into space. As a young boy, I was fascinated. My room was filled with butterfly nets, Gilbert microscopes, little telescopes. I just absolutely loved astronomy. And to grow up and have that part of my life was a really remarkable opportunity. But also as a scientist, we look for signs. We look for things around us that can tell us things. And this is nothing new. Humans have always looked at signs as they've looked around them, moving through this world. So today we're going to talk about signs. Now, we're used to signs. We see them around us everywhere. They are bombarding us with information, sometimes useful, sometimes not. However, it is part of our world. And these signs that we may see, it may be signs of Wall Street, as we just found out what's going on this morning. It may be an odd lump on our back that is an indicator something is not quite right. It may be actually the foundations of our house we were just going to buy, and we have second thoughts about that one because it doesn't look too stable. These are signs we look at, but it goes back to the history of our species. If you walked into a cave and saw this, you might think, hey, somebody else has been here and the hunting is good in this area. You might, if you were one of our early ancestors, walk out and see this on a tree and you would say, bear. There is a bear nearby and these claw marks are fresh. You might see a tree that looked like this and you'd say, big buck. He's losing his antlers. He's around here somewhere. He's rubbed the bark off the tree. And if you moved out and you went into a cave and saw this, you would say two things. Wait a minute. These are human bones. And those are cut marks on those bones. There are cannibals nearby. Maybe it's time to move on. So we've always been attuned to signs that surround us in the universe. Well, right now, the Earth is sending us a big sign. Some people are seeing it, some people are not. We have glaciers melting. We have flooding. This was just taken last week in the Midwest. We have fires that have swept through Australia and California and Indonesia. The world is sending us a sign that things are not quite right on this planet. It's up to us to recognize them. But what if the universe is sending us a sign? Excuse me a second. Can we get the volume up on that? What if the universe is sending us a sign and we're not paying any attention to it? We're not hearing it. This is my field. This is what I work in. And in back doors, astrophysicists are beginning to ask some very strange questions about who we are and where we are in occupying this universe. And this is what they're talking about. The universe to us is silent. You may hear an owl. You may go outside at night and hear animals around you, but as you stare at this ocean of stars, it's silent. It says nothing to us. And this is absolutely wrong because the universe is teeming with noise. We just don't have the ears to hear it. If we were to look at the universe, this is what our sun sounds like. This is what most stars sound like. This is what the planet Mercury sounds like. There's Venus. You ever wonder what the Earth sounds like as it moves through space? There it is. How about Mars? Jupiter sounds industrial. And Saturn is spooky. Uranus sounds like a windstorm. Neptune is a little bit quieter. And Pluto rings like a bell. These are the vibrations inside the planets that create these sounds. We can hear the remains of supernovae that have exploded through the universe. And believe it or not, we can hear the remains of the Big Bang. This is what the beginning of the universe sounded like. It still moves through space. You're hearing the real thing. Oddly enough, except for the sounds created by the objects out there, the universe in every other way is completely silent. Except for this planet that is blasting noise.
But it's all working. And just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Except for this one planet that is broadcasting into the universe, the rest of the universe is silent. Now, this is the Milky Way galaxy. This is the home most of us live in. It's about 200 to 400 billion stars. Every one of those stars have solar systems around them, and many of them have identical planets to the planet Earth. So there's plenty of homes out there for creatures and aliens to live on. But in the last 60 years, we have been listening. And within 100 light years of Earth, we have sampled over 200,000 solar systems with Earth-like planets in them, and they are dead silent. We are just finishing our next survey about 1,000 light years away, 3.5 billion stars, and the universe is silent. Which brings us to wonder, what's going on out there? So these are 7 ideas that astrophysicists are discussing over a glass of scotch on a Friday night in a back room as to what's going on in this universe and why we're not seeing more aliens. First of all, the distances between the stars are too far for anybody to travel, for anybody to make contact with. And this comes to numbers. We are terrible with numbers. We're wonderful at using them, but terrible at understanding. I'm going to give you an example. Billion. How many of you work with this number? How many of you know that exactly that's what it looks like? 9 zeros behind a 1. So you're familiar with a billion. Let's find out. What happened a billion seconds ago? I'll give you a moment. What happened a billion minutes ago? What happened a billion hours ago? What happened a billion days ago? Go ahead, talk among yourselves, come up with the answers. What happened a billion seconds ago? Oh, it was 1983. What happened a billion minutes ago? Christ walked the earth. What happened a billion hours ago? Neanderthals walked the earth. And a billion days ago, nothing walked upright on the earth. So we have numbers that we're familiar with, but sometimes they don't quite register. A light year is what astronomers use. Miles are useless to us. We call it a light year. Many of you understand a light year. Many of you don't quite. A light year is the amount of time it takes light to travel 1 year across space. It's a speed. It's about 186,000 miles per second, or for rounding it off, it's about 6 trillion miles an hour. 6 trillion miles. How does this relate to us? Well, when you go out today and that sun shines on your cheek and you say, oh, it's so nice to be in sunlight, that light actually left there 9 minutes ago. Traveling at the speed of light, it's taken 9 minutes, like a FedEx package, to travel through space and reach you. So you're seeing the sun as it was 9 minutes ago. If you were to take a look at Jupiter, which is in the morning sky right now, the light left there 42 minutes earlier. If you were to look at the closest planet outside of our solar system, which we've identified in Alpha Centauri, the Proxima Centauri system, it's an Earth-like planet. The light left there 4.3 years ago. In other words, if you could travel the speed of light, it would take you 4.3 years to get there and 4.3 years to get home. But we can't travel the speed of light. We can't even begin to come close to it. So with the best propulsion systems we have today, it's roughly going to take us 250 years to make that journey one way. 250 years to come home. So the distances of space are tremendous. And that's nearby. That's the closest star to the Earth. If you see the Andromeda galaxy, the little hazy patches in the sky at night, the light left there 2.2 million years ago. Traveling at the speed of light, it would take you 2.2 million years to get there, and we can't imagine anything that travels faster than the speed of light. So consequently, the distances may be too far in the universe for us to really communicate and connect up with aliens. Here's the second point. Evolution does not necessarily lead to intelligence. We think it does because we're the top of the list. But evolutionary scientists will tell you, no, we're a fluke. We won the lottery to be here. Do not expect on other worlds the ultimate goal of evolution is intelligence. It's not going to happen. Take a look at the Earth. At our planet, the most successful life on this Earth are bacteria, protozoans, sponges, they're everywhere, starfish, echinoderms, jellyfish, worms, and trees. And what do all of these have in common? None of them have a brain. You do not need to have a brain to succeed on planet Earth, which I did not want to get into politics, but you never know. There are indicators. So brains are not necessary on a world through evolution. The third part we're looking at is everybody's listening, nobody is answering. And this comes right back to Stephen Hawking, who said, trying to communicate with aliens, we potentially endanger humanity because a distant alien civilization might not view us as inferiors, it might view us as inferiors, weak, imperfect to conquer. And this is based upon our own history and what we've seen. When cultures clash and one is slightly ahead in technologies, the ones that are behind seem to always come in second. So maybe everybody is listening, but it's a good idea they don't know that we're here. And they're not broadcasting that they're there. Number 4, accidents happen. This is a big one for us on planet Earth because if you take a look at the history of our world, the history of life within the last 500,000 years, you will find that we have what's called punctuated evolution. There have been major disasters on Earth. A little while back, about 420 million years ago, we lost 86% of all the life on Earth. Back at about 360 million years ago, we lost 75% of all life on Earth. Going back a little bit further to the Great Die-Off, we lost about 220 million years ago. 96% of all life in the oceans and the land was wiped off. It's gone. It's time to start over. We have just cleared the slate on this planet. We have lost most recently, back about 200 million years ago, 80% of all life. And when the asteroid wiped out the dinosaurs, it took 76% of all life on this planet. So, if worlds are constantly being cleaned of life, if they're starting over, the idea that intelligence may survive is a 50-50 bet. And this is the norm for planets in our solar systems. This is the big one, and this is the one to think about. We talk about the funnel effect. When civilizations collapse, and it's to be expected, it's happened to the Incas, it's happened to the Mayas, it's happened to the cultures on Easter Island. We've seen it in Western Rome when it collapsed. We see civilizations that collapse when there's overpopulation pressures, global nuclear wars, biological warfare, global plagues, crash in birth rates, exhaustion of natural resources, drastic climatic change. These may be factors that restrict the evolution of intelligent life on worlds. They come, they go, and they're not replaced by creatures. There is no creature right now that could replace us with intelligence. Octopi are pretty smart, but they're not going to do it because they live in the oceans and they can't light a match. So, what is it? Is the fact that many worlds have gone through this collapse. Number 6, the second wave of artificial life in the universe does not care about us. And that simply means we're on the threshold of artificial intelligence ourselves. Some people believe we're 30 years away from a creature and a machine that thinks like humans. Some think we're 50 years away, but most certainly within the next 100 years, you're going to see them walking the Earth. Maybe they are the inheritors of planet Earth. And when they're in space and they're taking a look at the Earth and they see the way we go about our life, our frantic movements, the way we jump around, we never stay still. To them, we may appear more like this. They're simply not interested in us. And lastly, the universe is too young for advanced life. This is kind of startling. The universe began 13.8 billion years ago. We're in the present right now. If we could do a schematic of the universe, beginning at the end, matter is created, atoms come together, stars form, galaxies form, enough of the heavier elements that are in your body that you take every morning as vitamins are created, and now you can have life in this universe. And it started about 5 billion years ago. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old. So we're young. The universe is going to go on for trillions of years. And that is a sobering thought, to think that we may actually be the first. Take a look at this, the history of the universe in 1 minute, starting with the Big Bang. Galaxies form, stars form, matter forms, planets form, our sun is created. A violent moment. Life turns into multicellular life, turns into more advanced forms of life. Life in the ocean suddenly decides it's a great time to move on to the land. The dinosaurs are eliminated. The mammals are left behind to rule the earth. We come down from the trees. We discover fire. We begin our migration. We discover agriculture. We discover war. We discover science. We discover technology that take us to the moon. if everything you saw was put down to 1 year, all the technologies that you saw happened in the last 1/2 of a second on planet Earth. So maybe we're the first. Maybe the universe is young and we're part of it, which means we better take a look at our planet Earth in very different eyes. We are not communal anymore, we're global. And if the universe is empty, if the universe right now does not have intelligent life, we're it. But I'm going to leave you with one thought. That's where we are at this moment. Within the next 6 years, the next decade at the most, you in this room will be the first group of human beings that will ever know the answer to this question as to whether or not we are alone. Thank you.